Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Adrienne and today is Halloween. To the untrained eye, I am a cat today, but to witches and wizards, I am Hermione Granger after she took the wrong Polyjuice potion. So, today I'm going to show you the books that I've bought in the past couple of months. I've picked up a lot of new releases, some really trendy titles right now, and yeah, a lot of books that I'm really excited for. The first one is probably the most popular book right now in this book sphere, and that is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I have a weird thing with V.E. Schwab. I own almost all of her books, at least the first one in each series, and I haven't read them. I think I've read about 80 pages of Darker Shade of Magic. I got halfway through Vicious and I've never finished them, but for some reason I keep buying them. I keep thinking that I'm going to love her, so I had to pick up this one. It seems like a lot of people think this is her best book yet. It follows a woman in 1714 France over the span of I think 300 years of her life, because she made a deal with the devil at one point. Every person she meets forgets that she exists after their interaction, so I think she has a pretty miserable existence until one day someone remembers her. So, ooh, that just gave me chills. I haven't started this yet, but it sounds good and everyone's been loving it and saying how beautiful it is, so I really want to pick this one up soon. Next is the other book of the month pick from October, and that is Leave the World Behind by Ramon Alam. This follows a family who goes on vacation in upstate New York, and while they're there, the owners of the vacation home come back in the middle of the night and they say there's been a huge blackout in New York City and they need to stay there with them, and they've lost communication with the rest of the world. And I think some insidious things happen. I'm actually about 60 pages into this one right now, so I'm not sure what the vibe is yet. I think it's genre bending. Maybe it has some unnatural things going on. We will see. But I thought this was a great book for me to read today on Halloween because it's very unsettling feeling so far. Then, to keep up with the spooky, I picked up Sycorax's Daughters, edited by Kenitra Brooks, PhD. This is an anthology by a bunch of authors with super scary books. I mean, look at this cover. That is terrifying. It's a huge anthology. An anthology of dark fiction and poetry by Black women writers. The tales of what scares, threatens, and shocks them will enlighten and entertain you. Next, I picked up One by One by Ruth Ware. I think this is the 5th book of hers that I've read. This follows a group from a startup company called Snoop, which is a music app. They go on a company retreat to the French Alps and stay in a ski chalet. And it follows 2 perspectives, one of the Snoop people and then the woman who runs the chalet. It's really fun. Like, it kind of feels like a fun movie to watch on the weekend, but it's not that suspenseful. It's definitely not a psychological thriller. It's just like a locked room murder mystery. There's a big avalanche. They're all trapped together. The power goes out. They're dying off one by one. I prefer Sherry Lupina's An Unwanted Guest, which is like upstate New York, snowed in at a hotel. And the thing I enjoyed about that one more is that it involved their personal lives more. This one is more like centered around the company drama, and I don't know, it just didn't go as deep as I was hoping. This is not a wrap-up though, so yes, I bought this book. Back to super trendy, Legendborn by Tracy Dion. This is a fantasy book, dark academia, and Arthurian legend inspired. But dark academia is all the rage right now, so this one sounds really fun. It follows a girl who's going to school and she stumbles upon some mages who awaken the magic that she has, and she's exploring these new powers and the Arthurian inspired fantasy world that she's introduced to. Then we have Trouble the Saints by Elia Dawn Johnson. This is about a woman in 1920s or 40s New York City, and she's an assassin who falls in love with another assassin. I don't think there's any magic involved, but just the setting gives me Diviner by Libba Bray vibes, so I really want to read it. Then Punching the Air by Evie Zaboy and Yusuf Salam. Yusuf is one of the Central Park Five, which, if you don't know, in the 80s or 90s, a group of young boys were falsely accused of raping and leaving a woman for dead in Central Park, and they were later proven not guilty and someone else was behind it, but they did serve between 6 and 10 years in prison each. So he teamed up with Evie Zaboy, who's one of my favorite authors. She wrote American Street and Pride, which I love both of those so much. They teamed up to write a book about a group of boys who were falsely accused of, I think, just like beating someone up or something like that, and what happens to them. Even though it's fiction, it's obviously heavily inspired by real life events, and it is written in verse. Next is Black Ink, Literary Legends on the Peril, Power, and Pleasure of Reading and Writing, edited by Stephanie Stokes Oliver. This is another anthology, but it has a bunch of essays, short stories, and writings from the past like 300 years. It has pieces from Frederick Douglass, Ta-Nehisi Coates, Roxane Gay, but then also W. Du Bois, James Baldwin, Toni Morrison, Marlon James. So just 250 years of literary pieces compiled into this one book. Then for all of my INTPs watching or other people interested in MBTI, I picked up Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules of Life, which that's unrelated to Myers-Briggs, but Jordan Peterson is an INTP like me, so supposedly learning from your own type that's successful at something you want to be successful at is the best way to learn. We'll see if that's true. This is an antidote to chaos, just a book about how to navigate life, which who doesn't need to know more about that. It was my birthday this month, and my lovely sister bought me 2 books. The first one is Royal Holiday by Jasmine Guillory. I have no idea why she got this for me, but I think she just wants to read it with me maybe, and it'd be fun for Christmas. So this follows a woman who goes to London for whatever reason and ends up falling in love, probably with someone who's royal, which it sounds cute. I did read The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guillory, which was cute and fun, so I am excited to have like a holiday spirit book that I hope to read a bunch of during December. The other book she got me is The Left-Handed Booksellers of London by Garth Nix, which trigger word for me personally. Also, can you tell I like London? Because she got me 2 London books. But this one, it says authorized to kill and sell books, which is funny, but it's a fantasy story. I'll just read you this little excerpt. Merlin is a young left-handed bookseller, one of the fighting ones. With the right-handed booksellers, the intellectual ones, he belongs to an extended family of magical beings who police the mythic and legendary old world when it intrudes on the modern world, in addition to running several bookshops. So what doesn't sound good about this? Back to another trendy pickup, A Song of Wraiths and Ruins by Roseanne Brown. High fantasy inspired by West African folklore, I'm pretty sure. Sounds amazing, looks amazing. Everyone's been loving this book. Then random Amazon Prime Day purchase, which Prime Day sucked this year, by the way. But they did have The Last Town by Blake Crouch on sale. This is the 3rd book in the Wayward Pines trilogy. I read and loved the first one, and this was on sale, so I have the 2nd and 3rd one now whenever I decide to continue. Next is a recommendation from Lindsay Ray's channel, which, did you know Lindsay Ray is back? I used to love her when she did booktube videos years and years ago. She disappeared for a while, but she is back, and she said one of her favorite books that she's read this year is Una Out of Order by Margarita Montemor. This follows a woman named Una who, on her like 25th birthday or something, when she, you know, expects to turn 25, instead she wakes up and she's like 45, and she's just thrown into the life of her future self. and then whenever she turns the next age, she's thrown into some other age in her life and just into the life that she's made for herself, and she just has to pick up on where she is, I guess. But she's living her life out of order, and that sounds very interesting and also terrifying, but I'm guessing it's not supposed to be terrifying. It's probably fun. It's like 13 going on 30, but every year she's thrown into a random age. Okay, so those are all the books I'm going to share with you today. I honestly have bought more books than that, but I'm trying to make this video reasonable and also just talk about books that I'm really excited for and not ramble on and on. So anyways, that is everything for you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you had a great Halloween, and I'll see you next time.